If you harm Shannon, I'll kill you.
Spare me, child. Behold my true face.
Oh my god.
Yes, the shit just hit the fan, didn't it? Jason is my son, and today is his birthday. You could have dinner with us. My brother makes good head cheese. Candyman, I get cheese. Candyman. We all go a little mad sometimes. Hello and welcome to Two Guys, One Necronomicon, a weekly horror review podcast where we talk about all things horror. We talk about your cult classics to your modern day trash. And today we are going to be talking about Wishmaster. And I am your host, Shane Hotboy Smith. And Brian, I come up with all the cool nicknames, LaGrasta. And I want to change it up for the 20th episode.
You're lucky I'm not cutting that shit in post. You are so lucky. Because we are your hosts, Brian Hotboy LaGrasta and Shane, I'm considering leaking my nudes, Smith.
See, this is why I wanted to change it up for the 20th episode. I was like, alright, I've gone 19 episodes with you coming up with these outlandish nicknames for me. I'm like, let me get it. But no. And P.S. I'm not leaking my nudes. Don't have any.
You stole my nickname. That's my likeness, Shane.
You know, I mentioned it like episodes ago that it was time for me to start giving out the nicknames.
There was only one way I was ever going to let that happen.
And what was that?
You have to wish.
I blew it. I need to find a djinn.
Right here. They're starting to call me the djinn.
So you want me to make a wish to you? Do I get 3 wishes? Am I the first to summon you?
You got 3, but you have to understand, if that's the case, I'm bringing my brethren up to rock Earth. To rock its tits off.
Okay. Well, my first wish is that I can have the power to give you a nickname during the next episode.
We'll talk.
I don't think that's how wishes work.
We'll talk.
Okay.
I'll consider it.
Okay. So, djinns.
Yeah, so we're reviewing their Wishmaster, the 1997 B-movie classic.
I would consider it a classic. I mean, it's definitely a known movie. Like, it epitomizes, I guess, what people would call the crappy horror movies of the 90s. Even though I like this movie.
I feel like it's like kind of like a throwback.
Yeah.
In a way.
It is. It emphasizes on blood and a comedic villain more than, like, the dialogue at times, but...
Yeah. So it's not like a character builder?
No, not at all.
It's not like the story's, nothing special, but the villain, the one-liners...
Yes.
And the kills are freaking great.
Yeah. Especially when the djinn is in human form.
Yeah. So this movie kind of experiments with, like, practical and CGI a little bit.
It does.
I would also air that the practical is like million times better than their CGI stuff.
Yes. 1, the CGI obviously wasn't there in the 90s. And 2, for a B movie, the CGI definitely wasn't there. So,
yeah.
But the practical, like you said, is very well done. The guy who directed this movie, Robert Kurtzman.
The Kurtz.
Yeah. I think he's done a lot of different, like, horror movies. Like, not directed, but just, like, worked on them. So, I feel like he probably brought that expertise into this.
Okay, so he knew going in.
Yeah, like what he was doing.
Yeah, and there's like 5 of these movies, right?
4 Wishmasters, like originals, like Wishmaster 1 through 4, and then I think later in like 2000, maybe 14, I'm not sure the year exactly, they just came out with a movie called Djinn, which I think is like either a reboot or just like a 5th sequel. But I've seen the first 4.
Wow.
Oh yeah. And I would recommend the first one. I would recommend the second one only because the same guy plays the djinn. And then I would say stay far, far away from 3 and 4.
Fair. Yeah, I've only seen the first one.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely, after watching it, gonna watch the rest because this one's fun.
I really, I wouldn't watch 3 and 4. They're bad. They're bad. You like the guy who played the djinn, right? In this one?
Yeah.
That's why I think you'll like the second one.
So you know what this movie reminded me of, and you might disagree, but it's a 90s movie? We're talking like a series of, the villain being almost the paramount focus with the cheesy one-liners, even though I wouldn't say these were cheesy. I just think they were funny.
They're funny.
But with the one-liners after every kill, and the kills are crafty, it kind of reminded me of Leprechaun, but like way better.
Yeah. Well, because did Leprechaun have any like truly good movies in the series?
It didn't, but like, I'm talking like a supernatural being.
Yeah. Because even Leprechaun 1 with Jennifer Aniston wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't good at all.
And don't get us started on Leprechaun 4 in space.
Yeah, that was freaking nuts.
It's like such a long sit.
I feel like I was in prison watching that movie. Interstellar prison.
Seriously, though. Oh, man. But yeah, Wishmaster. We looked up a little bit because we weren't sure exactly like what a djinn, because we're used to a genie being the blue guy coming out of a lamp and being this friendly figure.
What do you know about the djinn, Shane?
Not much, except that it's like Islamic or Muslim
So it comes
being.
from it comes from like pre-Islamic Arabic mythology, and I think also later Islamic as well. But that's where it originated in pre-Islamic.
Yeah, and it could either be a good or a bad entity, but I think it hovers more towards a bad with like demons and things of that nature.
Yeah, that's at least from what I read.
Mm-hmm.
There's some texts where like it's viewed as a supportive spirit, and then there's most of the text around it is just a evil demon.
Right.
And just from like some reading some background, I know there's text on it everywhere, even like written in the Quran. I was reading that like the jinn was created by smokeless fire. They can move through the atmosphere but are limited from traveling beyond Earth. And the thing about this movie is they do explain a little bit of the lore of the jinn, but they don't talk about moving past Earth to discuss bringing their brethren up from, I guess you could call it the void, to conquer Earth.
Yes. Because in this movie, the main djinn, his whole goal is to have the person who awakens him cast 3 wishes, so then the other djinns can come out and essentially make it almost like hell on Earth.
They want the jinn crew to conquer planet Earth.
The jinn does it by any means necessary. What I like about this movie is you don't have to say, I wish.
No, exactly.
He tricks you into wanting something from him.
Yeah, it's like your intent. It's like you want it. The best part of the movie is like how he shapes the dialogue to get them to want something.
Yes, and like the anger on his face when they're just like, no, he just looks so pissed.
And then when he gets what he wants, he's got like this ass-eating grin.
He really does. And that's one thing we'll go into real quick. The actors, the guy who plays the djinn.
This guy's a fucking rock star.
Yes, Andrew Devoff. He's by far the best part of the movie.
100%. Probably the best part of the 90s.
Seriously. The main actress is Tammy Lauren. She's okay. Take her or leave her. Like I said, the focus of this movie, though, is the djinn.
Oh, for sure.
And then, of course, it's a horror movie. It's the 90s. You have Tony Todd, you have Kane Hodder, and you have Robert Englund.
Yeah.
So you have the Candyman, Freddy, and Jason all in this movie.
That's true. And the djinn. And the tall man.
That's
because
right.
Angus Scrim narrates the beginning.
So literally, you're getting like everything all in one movie. What more can you ask for? So unless you have anything else you want to add in...
Yeah, you said, what more can you ask for? I can ask for one more thing. Your leaked nudes.
Nope. So, that means we're jumping into... the spooky pit.
Here we go. An evil djinn attempts to conjure his brothers to Earth, and he starts by granting 3 wishes.
And so, this movie opens up with an alchemist brewing some kind of potion. You see a mortar and a pestle. He's, crushing up some herbs, some spices.
I call it the pop, the bam. He takes a little bit of the powder, mixes it up in a blood red-ish solution.
Yeah. Hits you a little bit of that Bam Carlucci.
Shane. And then he pours this into a bowl in the fireplace.
And then he pulls out this red gem from a rack. And it's very vibrant. I thought it was a ruby, but I believe they just call it an opal in the movie.
They call it a fire opal.
Yes. So it's a fire opal. And then from that, you get the voiceover by the tall man.
You get black text and tall man voice. He says, God breathed life into the universe. The light gave birth to angels, and the earth gave birth to man, and the fire gave birth to the jinn. And that kind of makes sense, because that kind of goes along with the smokeless fire that the Quran referenced. That's that little Islamic research that we looked into.
Up. Yep.
Jinn are creatures condemned to live in the void between the worlds. One who awakens a jinn shall be granted 3 wishes. Granting that 3rd wish will unleash the legions of the jinn to be free upon the earth, and fear is the only thing that it wants. Fear the jinn.
And then you get an opening scene that is absurd. I guess it's ancient Egypt or something like that. It doesn't specify exactly, does it?
Yeah, it does, actually.
It does?
Persia, 1127 AD.
There we go. It's literally just like this crazy scene of like plague and like violence and blood and everything.
Hell is breaking loose. You hear the jinn, and he's not shown at this point. He's asking the king to make a 2nd wish. And the king's wish is, show me wonders. And boy, does he show him something.
It's, like, hard to keep track of everything that's going on. So this might be out of order, so you could throw in things as you think of them. Some of the things that, like, jump out to me are a guy's skeleton bursting out of his skin and then attacking another man.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. The guy just lies down on the ground, and his skeleton animates and walks out of his skin.
Then there's another guy who, like, is turned into a snake. And
Is it a lizard or a snake?
It's kind of like a crocodile.
It's like a stone croc.
Yeah, we'll call it Stone Croc. Do you got any other thing? Because there's so much happening here. It's hard to keep track.
A woman becomes a human tree.
That's right. A woman does become a tree.
People just start to grow like
tumors or
fucking Cronenberg monsters out of their stomachs. Like it's some sick shit.
Yeah, this does seem like something Cronenberg would do with all the body morphs, and that's like his big thing.
Yeah, this movie's got a lot of body horror in it for sure.
It does. It's disturbing imagery, and the special effects, the makeup, I mean, and like the blood and like the bodies changing, they're very well done in this scene.
For sure.
What you see is a man running through all of this, which is the sorcerer potion with the mortar and pestle.
Correct.
And he runs into his king with the djinn leaning over the king, asking him to make his third wish.
Yes. You see him in full focus. He's got this red hooded robe. And he's got this scaly appearance with these small but sharp teeth. The sorcerer's like, King, no more wishes. And the king is kind of in a bind because he needs to wish to save his people.
Yeah.
But
if he makes his third wish, all the jinns are released.
So he has to make a sacrifice. The sorcerer's right.
Yeah. The djinn even says, don't you need to save your people?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's a wordsmith. And it makes sense. This is why the djinn, when he becomes a human later in the movie, is the greatest with the chicks. Because he's a fucking wordsmith.
Yeah. He's super hot.
Every chick is attracted to him. He's a real head turner.
It's true. He looks sharp in his suit. But, sadly for the djinn, good for the human race, Sorcerer is able to trap the djinn in the fire opal. And he's definitely inside of this gem now. So, once the sorcerer has the djinn trapped in this fire opal, the scene ends, and we come to a present-day boat.
Did you notice that when he's casting the spell to bring him, like, into the gem, to conjure him in there, he says, literally this is his words, Nib Shugarath, which I think...
That's a Lovecraft thing, isn't it?
He mixed, like, the words. It should be...
Oh, yeah, Shub-Niggurath,
the elder god from the Lovecraftian mythos.
That was probably, like, an intentional thing,
no,
I guess.
I think they just swapped it around.
Just to... Interesting. Because it was a good swap, I didn't notice.
Yeah, it's something like that. I might have got it wrong, but it's, like, very close, but the words are, like, slightly reversed.
Interesting.
So I'm like, whoa. Lovecraft.
I mean, you're a big Lovecraft guy.
I am. I do. I love the board games. They're fucking great.
Yeah, I mean...
I have his complete works. I've read like 3 of them. Just 3.
Did you read the one about Cthulhu?
No, I actually didn't.
It's Cthulhu.
Yeah.
It's always Cthulhu. Or the Yellow King.
Lovecraft is he's the Necronomicon.
He is. Thank you for helping us with our podcast name.
Yep.
Now we're at the boat. It's a big boat. We're at the docks.
You're gonna go boat. I'm gonna go ship or vessel.
Well, they're essentially the same thing.
No.
I feel like you're just being a little nitpicky here.
No.
No? Okay.
What are you trying to do here?
I don't know. Yeah, Brian the boat guy, LaGrosta, apparently. So we see Robert Englund. He is Mr. Beaumont.
I love it. Freddy Krueger's in the movie. That's awesome.
And he's just a sophisticated art gallery guy. He's like, I've waited 10 years for this piece. And he's with his assistant. I don't know his name. I'm pretty sure that was Ted Raimi.
Yeah, we're gonna call him Assist Boy.
Assist Boy. The box is like coming down off the crane and it like bangs into the boat. So Assist Boy goes over there and he's like, what are you guys doing? Be careful with this.
He's being really emphatic. What I'd like to mention here is that this statue and piece he's waiting for is a statue of the pre-Islamic god Ahura Mazda. And the importance of these is that under Islam, these gods were outlawed. So this is a forgotten god, so this is like a valuable piece.
Right. Well, Mr. Beaumont is only getting pieces if they're valuable.
He collects, and you'll see he's got a room later, forgotten and lost gods that were no longer worshipped.
And he doesn't care about the gods. He cares about the price.
He cares about the price. He does not care about the theology.
No.
So he's not going into the history, he's going into the price tag.
Exactly. This piece is going to lose a little bit of its price, though, because as Ted Raimi is shouting at the guy operating the crane, like, yeah, whatever, spills his coffee, accidentally knocks the crane over, the box falls and kills Ted Raimi, and sculpture is broken.
Yeah. Super cool scene. Literally flattened by this ginormous box.
Yeah.
Blood is splurted all over the broken pieces of the statue.
Yes. And everyone runs over, not to see if he's okay, because he's clearly dead, so maybe see what pieces of him they can find.
Yeah, I mean, like, no matter what, I think it's just a natural reaction.
Yeah, to go over.
Someone would go over.
What's cool is, as you're seeing all these guys go over, it cuts to one worker who sees the fire opal from the beginning of the movie, and he's like, oh, this looks valuable, and pockets it.
He knew exactly what it was.
He didn't.
I know he didn't. It's made very clear later that he definitely doesn't know what it is.
No, it's a very cool seeing that. I got like 300 for it. She's like, oh, well, you got robbed.
Yeah. So he got robbed, because what he does is he robs this fire opal.
He does.
Takes it, pockets it. Scene will transition to a regal-looking building. And I use that word regal because it's actually the company is named Regal something.
Yeah. And the place we're at is a gem appraiser. You would know this if you've seen the movie Uncut Gems.
Either that or you just are into appraising gems.
Yeah, I guess we could go either one, but I don't know how many gem appraisers are.
A lot.
Oh, okay.
I heard they also buy gold from Roslyn Capital.
We don't even need to talk about those commercials here. The guy bringing the gem into the appraiser is a pawn shop guy. And he said he got the gem from a guy who said he got it from his grandma. Obviously, he got it from the dock worker who was lying.
And he tells the lady at the desk for some reason he has his pawn shop on 5th and Tooley, the armpit of the universe. So he's looking for a nice little payday.
They thank him. They're like, thank you for thinking of us, bringing it. Because clearly the guy thinks it's like really valuable.
Yeah, for sure. The store's owner comes over and he asks the man if he knows the gem's provenance or where it came from, the origin story of the gem. He tells him he bought it from some guy, like you said, he got it off his grandmother, blah, blah, blah. He's like, all right, we're going to have this appraised by our best. And he's calling for Alex. Alex is not there.
Alex is not there because Alex is playing tennis with Josh.
And this is a heated tennis match. Not really. They're playing for fun. Not really.
They're playing competitive tennis. It's like watching Serena Williams take on, like, Rafael Nadal. It's heated. You don't know who's going to win.
Right. They start walking after the tennis match is over, and he asks her if they can, go on a little date. Well, you know what I'm saying, bro?
And she's like, Josh, we're friends. I don't want to ruin that.
You're bringing me down, bro. You're bringing me down.
Yeah, and Josh is like, come on. I was thinking, a little dinner, a little movie. And she's like, I'm thinking a little hot dog, a little ball game, which is kind of more sexual than the dinner and the movie.
Oh, for sure. And he's like, okay, playing it safe. All right.
He's like, I'll allow it. I do like that, though, because this whole scenario plays back at the end of the movie.
Yeah, he's like, he gives her his hat, and he tells her that he's going to cast a spell on her. Maybe it'll work. He hops in his red sports car, and then she goes to approach him, wants to say something to him, but she doesn't really get it off her chest.
Yeah.
She's like, I'll just, I'll see you later. He's like, I'll be at
the lab.
I'll be at the lab. If you need to find me, that's where I'll be. Think about what I asked you before. Just sit on it.
Yeah. We'll circle back to that one.
Exactly.
So, Alex is then seen appraising the gem. And, she's looking at it, and it has, this, weird stuff going on in it, I guess we could say.
Yeah. So, this puppy is a magnificent, translucent opal. It has no other color traces. Got a lot going on in here. Right now, she's being hovered by Nick, who owns the place.
Well, he scares her.
Yeah, he scares her. I would like to use the words getting very excited when he finds out, this is going to be a rare piece.
Yeah.
And it's going to be worth a lot of money. It's going to fetch a high price tag. I go as far as to say he has an orgasm.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing this guy loves more than money. And we'll learn that later.
She does think that there's a speck on it. So she breathes on it. She wipes it off. And you get kind of a look at what's in the gem. An eye looking out.
Mm-hmm.
And she audibly hears the djinn in the gem. And he says, "You woke me." And then she looks around the room and nothing is there.
Yeah. That is actually very important because now that she's the one who has woken the djinn, she is the one who has to make the 3 wishes.
Exactly. And Nick kind of comes back and he's like, is something wrong with it? Something wrong with it? She's like, I need to run more tests. He's like, more tests? What is this, a physical?
Which, if he thinks it's worth money, why is he rushing this situation? She should get everything done and make sure it's good.
Of course.
Her idea of getting more tests is bringing it to Josh.
He can run it under some of those infrared tests, state-of-the-art shit.
Yeah, well, because he's in a lab. And she goes to the lab and she's like, study this gem for me. See if there's anything weird about it.
You wish you were in a lab.
Not really.
Okay.
Not a science guy. I'm more of a movie guy, if you couldn't tell.
Nice.
Thanks.
That's cute. That's real special.
Yeah, it's cute. Just like Alex and Josh's relationship. Because Alex is like, I owe you one. And he says, yeah, how about that dinner?
And she owed him one because you want to know why? He has 2 hours worth of Professor Library's crap to deal with, and now she springs this shit on him. It's like a baby.
You know, this relationship seemed a little one-sided. Josh just wants to take her out to dinner, and she's putting all this burden on Josh.
It's unreal.
It really is. Especially since Josh dies in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, he dies pretty quick. She walks out. She's like, I gotta go. She coaches girls basketball, so she just leaves. She walks out. The scene cuts to her lecturing the girls and telling them the key to making your basketball shots is stillness.
Yeah, it's all about stillness. Another thing that plays into the movie.
You don't need height. You don't need skill. You don't need hops. You don't need lateral movement. You need to be still.
That's how I always played my basketball. I stood in one spot, still, and just waited.
For sure.
And that's actually how I actually play basketball.
I'm thinking about all the basketball greats. Michael Jordan.
Never moved.
LeBron James.
Never moves.
Kobe Bryant.
Always stood still.
Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Larry Bird.
Yeah, none of them moved.
Bobo Johanovich.
Yeah, Kwame Brown. Actually, Kwame Brown's probably the only one that actually did just stay still, and that's probably why he was such a bust.
And boy. Scene will then cut back to Josh. He's running these tests. He's getting a thermal reading, and it's bearing some results. Then Alex starts to kind of hear these voices again as she's coaching.
You woke me.
You woke me.
And as that's happening, the gem is starting to like split in half in the lab until the whole machine explodes and Josh goes flying into the ground.
Yeah, and Josh is like lying on the floor. He is choking on his own blood. He is dying.
Yeah, and he's going to be dying even more because he looks over and there is a merman from Cabin in the Woods.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how else to describe, like, this creature other than merman.
It's like Merman and Creature of the Black Lagoon had a baby, and that baby became...
an aborted fetus. Like, it's just what it looks like.
Yeah, that can crawl.
And it starts crawling to Josh, and Josh can't move because he's literally, like, dying.
Yeah.
And then it literally says, I can end your suffering. All you have to do is wish it away.
Josh is like, yeah.
He's like, yeah. And so it just kills Josh. It, like, does this, like, I guess squeeze with its hand, so it's like maybe squeezing his heart or something.
He doesn't like actually touch him though, doesn't he?
No,
Like, puts his hands together, like you're right, like he's compressing his hands to like break him like internally.
Exactly. And so Josh dies, and this, whatever we just called it, just turns into the djinn.
Yes, and this sends a telepathic shockwave over to Alex. She senses everything that just happened.
This is the second movie with a main character named Alex we've reviewed now, where they just feel everything happening. Every time the djinn, like, gets a wish from someone, she feels it. She, like, knows what's happening.
It's because she's the one who released the djinn.
Yeah. Alex, like, arrives at the lab from basketball because she just felt that something was wrong. She even calls Josh, and no one picks up the phone when
Correct.
she calls Josh.
Mm-hmm.
So when she arrives at the lab, the police are already there. She's like, Josh, is Josh okay? And he's clearly dead.
And you know what's not there? The gems. Because your boy stole them.
Yes. The gem is broken into 4 pieces, and he picked up the 4 pieces and bounced.
You want to hear something crazy?
Of course I do.
1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 4.
I guess that was Math Hour, brought to you by Two Guys, One Necronomicon.
Bang, bang. Who?
Brian's always trying to throw in these new segments. Some of them I really like. You know, who doesn't love a good passion bump? I don't know how I'm feeling about Math Hour, brought to you by Two Guys, One Necronomicon. I think this one might go in the bin.
You're gonna have to catch it on the after pod.
Okay, yes, the after pod. It's so hard to jump back into these after you throw Math Hour at me. But yeah, the detective is telling Alex that the equipment malfunctioned. It was an accident, and that's why Josh was killed. And Alex says he was analyzing a gem for her, and that's what he was doing here.
Yeah. She's grieving. She's like, Josh is my best friend. And he's like, oh, look, it looks like an accident. Like you said, the equipment malfunctioned. And she explains the story. So, scene shifts to an old man asking for money outside of a convenience store. The doctor, who, if you've seen Phantasm, you've seen him.
Yes, he is Reggie in Phantasm.
He comes outside. He's like a doctor or a pharmacist. I'm gonna go pharmacist.
I would call us pharmacist.
And he tells the homeless guy that's staring in the window, stop. And the bum is like, why are you leaving your customers while you're outside? They're in there. You need to be with them. And he's like, hey, you don't tell me how to run my business. And he's like, you don't tell me how to run my life. And then the bum's like, you don't own this sidewalk. And the pharmacist is like, I actually do own the sidewalk. I'm a taxpayer.
He's a taxpayer, not a sax player.
in the band.
Exactly.
Workaholics.
It's a good reference. Then the bum has some choice words where he says, I hope you die and float down the gutter.
Yeah, so he could piss on you.
Yes. A little drive-by piss. So then the bum, he's walking away, and who's he run into? He runs into our djinn.
That's true. He runs into the gym. He says a lot of, like, angsty, edgy things. He sounds like a really pissed off 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
But I do like what he says when he leaves, because he calls the pharmacist a piss-complected afterbirth to a Chinese gangbanger.
Which I would never have strung all those words together to form a sentence. Very clever. So the djinn asks the bum, he's like, is that how you really feel? Is that what you really want? Like leading him on to kind of wish for something without saying, I wish for this. So he's like, what do you really want? And he says, I hope he gets cancer and dies. And that's almost exactly how he says it. Literally, the djinn just like snaps his finger, and the pharmacist gets the most aggressive cancer.
And dies.
Yeah. Cancer where like, the cancer starts like almost coming out of his skin. Like he turns yellow and he like almost starts melting. Like
boils start appearing on his face. They start gooing. Like this light green goo.
Yeah, I guess it's like the cancer pus. Like, yeah.
Mucusy pus. And they start like bleeding and foaming. And it's really gross. And it's really bad cancer. He does die. The djinn approaches the bum. And he's like, is it worth it?
And the bum just runs.
He hightails it out of there.
Okay. And now, two things. We also, while this is happening, we cut to Alex. And she's like feeling this. Like she, like almost the images are coming in her head of what's happening. Like you said, that connection. And then another thing I love, which is what makes the djinn so great. The bum had a cigarette. And he drops it when he leaves. And the djinn picks it up and just starts puffing on the cigarette.
So freaking cool, man.
Yeah, he's just a cool guy.
Like the exact
he's a cool guy who grants wishes. You know, some would say the djinn's a good guy if people just knew how to wish better.
How cool would it be to have a bunch of these dudes roaming the earth?
You just gotta word your wishes correctly.
Exactly. Their language has been so terrible, so frivolous, just really nasty.
You bunch of idiots. Sorry, I didn't need to do that. You just really got me amped up with poor English.
So now you get a little backstory here between Shannon and Alex.
Who the hell's Shannon?
Shannon is her sister, her sexy sister. She's kind of hot.
Okay, we can go with that.
She's cute.
Yeah.
Shannon's cute.
Good looking girl.
For sure. Shannon's like, listen, Alex, you are not to blame for Josh's death. But Alex apparently is taking this guilt. And then Alex is like, sissy, listen to me. There was something weird in the opal, and so it exploded and killed Josh, and it was my fault. And she's like, you know how crazy that sounds, you dumb bitch?
Yeah, she's like, you're gonna start blaming yourself, and then you're gonna have to go to therapy again, and then the nightmares will start again, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
We're gonna have to call Dr. Moniglio again, oh boy.
Yeah, and that's when I'm like, wait, when did she have nightmares or PTSD or therapy? Like, did I miss a backstory segment?
Just to clarify, Shane, Alex is saying it's not the same as years ago, but Shannon's saying, listen, the fire happened years ago. Alex got Shannon out of the fire. However, Mom and Pa didn't make it.
See, now this is more clear to me. So, she kind of has this, like, recurring dream now of, like, someone banging on the window in the fire. Is it her, or who's the woman in her dream that she has?
I don't think you get a clear sight of who it is. My guess is it's one of two people. It's her mother.
Or Shannon.
In the future.
Exactly. Okay, so that's what I thought. And now, this is one of the things this movie does, which I don't like, because I don't like when movies do this. Right from this nightmare of the woman burning in the house, she wakes up at a tennis court, and then looks over, and there's zombie Josh. And she wakes up again. I hate when movies do the dream in a dream. Because we're like almost 30. Have you ever had a dream in a dream?
No.
Like, I don't think that ever happens, actually. Like, maybe I'm, like, full of shit, and it does, but I've never experienced a dream within a dream. I'm not living the movie Inception.
I'm with you. I could agree with that. I don't know if that exists or to the detail. I just, like, hard to originate when that, like, first started happening. Because, like, it happens all the time nowadays.
Yeah. Cut to Alex.
Yeah, she's gonna go to the dock. She's looking for a guy named Etchinson. Etchinson is the guy who originally had the opal.
Correct.
She goes up to him. She's like, yo, boy, fire opal. He's like, nah, dog.
He, like, tries to hit on her. Painting dock workers in a very bad light.
That's true, and I watched Wire Season 2. These are hard-working people.
When they aren't doing shady stuff like stealing stuff off the back or smuggling girls in the containers.
Hearsay.
No, I watched The Wire. It happens.
You're going to have to prove that. The burden of proof is on you.
Watch the second season of The Wire?
You're going to have to watch it and judge for yourself.
Okay. Alex talks to this guy. He gives her information. Alex says the pawn shop guy ratted him out, that he's who actually gave the opal. He then admits that he took the opal from the broken statue.
Yep. He tells her he got it out of the Beaumont piece when it fell and it killed the guy. He then asks her, he's like, I just gotta know, did I get screwed over by the pawn shop owner for the jewel? He's like, he gave me a couple $100, and she's like, yep, you were royally screwed.
Because that opal was worth a lot. So then Alex goes to meet Mr. Beaumont, who she has a working relationship already with, because they clearly know each other. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming, like, he's a high-end art guy and she's an appraiser, so they definitely would have crossed paths.
And this scene kind of parallels with another scene, because you see a person in a trench coat, or like an overcoat, just like walking up to a medical center. People are just staring at this person, and they just can't take their eyes off him. You would assume it's the djinn.
Yeah.
But they don't actually show who it is.
It cuts back to Beaumont and Alex, and they discuss the statue and like what kind of piece it was and what it meant. And he shows Alex his room of lost gods.
And you see a bunch of statues, and unfortunately, I'm not brushed up on my hist, Shane.
Yeah.
Don't get the hist.
No, I don't have a history of any of these statues.
What about the Thial? You don't get the Thial down?
No. Not my strong suit.
Like I said, it's a bunch of gods that were no longer worshipped, but he's collecting them because they're obviously going for a high price tag. And you can see why. We collect video games. So video games that are old or like have a first print, the people wouldn't like have their collection. They kind of add more monetary value because either limited runs or they're just not high in demand.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Like, what Beaumont does with art is kind of... Except we play the video games we collect, where I don't think Beaumont is playing with his statues and gems.
He's doing some fun stuff.
You think he's doing some
I think he's showing them off at the parties.
Well, he's definitely doing that.
Because he throws some kick-ass parties.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of Persia back in 1100.
Nothing gets that crazy.
One would think. Mr. Beaumont, though, does tell Alex he has a girl she should meet that he thinks will be able to answer her questions. And after that, we cut back to now, obviously, this is the djinn at the morgue. And we know this because he's sawing off a face in the morgue at the medical school.
Is it with his fingertip?
Yeah, he's got a sharp fingernail. One of the students walks in, and he's like, working after hours or something.
Yeah.
And then he's like, wait, who are you? And then the djinn just face reveals again, and the kid is terrified.
Oh, yeah.
And the djinn says, scared of what you see? Do you wish not to see this anymore? And the kid instantly says yes. So the djinn takes his eyes.
It's a pretty sick scene. You see like his eyes kind of just get completely covered. Please correct me if I'm wrong. He rips the face off of that body he was working on. He slaps it on his own face. It adjusts and morphs into his head.
Yes. And that's when he becomes Nathaniel Demarest the First, who is amazing. The human djinn has the best facial features, like you said at the beginning, this like shit-eating grin when he gets people to like make wishes, or even when someone's upsetting him, he just gives this like sly smirk.
He's incredible. He really is. Those facial expressions are just priceless.
Once he turns into a human, Alex starts screaming and falls to the ground.
She's still with Beaumont. He's like trying to help her out, but she is like fucking going through it. She's having a hard time.
And he's like, do you need water? Do you need anything? Despite him being like a snobby like art dealer, he comes off as, he's like, do you need any help?
Yeah.
And then he invites her to his party that's going to occur later on.
Yeah.
And he's like, your sister's invited. She's like, no, I don't think I'm going to be able to.
Yeah, I'm going to be too busy for that.
Yeah, which, I mean, makes sense because she's definitely going through some stuff right now because Josh died and she has a connection with a genie.
I mean, it happens to everybody.
So we cut to Alex going to meet this woman that Mr. Beaumont had told her about.
And she's like a folklore professor who's like bossing everybody around.
Yeah, she's like directing a play.
She's co-directing a play, I think, with a drama professor.
Because she's like the folklore teacher. Because when Alex is like trying to get her attention, she's like kind of half talking to her, the woman. And Alex is like, I'm not going anywhere until I have your full attention. And she's like, I like you. She's like, I don't even run this really. I just work with someone. So she's like, she'll be here soon. We could talk.
She appreciated the forwardness.
Yes.
She also hates Beaumont, which is interesting.
She does.
She's like, he's a prick. Must have good taste if you're not sleeping or if you work for him. Yeah, she doesn't like him. But she gives like a little breakdown of the gem. She tells Alex that the stone of the secret fire was first written about Persia 900 years ago. A court sorcerer imprisoned an evil spirit within it. This is the beginning of the movie. A djinn is a creature from the spaces between worlds. Alex then, she thinks of a genie as what our culture would define a genie as. Someone that grants 3 wishes, comes out of a magic lamp, you rub the lamp, you summon the genie.
Is this the part where she's like, a genie isn't Robin Williams or, someone else. A djinn is bad news.
It's the face of fear itself. It's an evil spirit from ancient Arabia.
So, after she tells her all this information, we cut to the first instance of Nathaniel Demarest buying clothes at a clothing store. And he is looking sharp.
He's looking so sharp. This lady, she's kind of like putting on her makeup or something.
Yeah.
She's like the employee not paying attention. And she's like, so how does it look? He's like, you tell me. She turns around and she's instantly charmed.
Yeah. He has that way with every woman he meets, pretty much.
She is very impressed on how fresh he looks in this kick-ass suit. He's like, I'm glad you approve. She's like, you want to try on anything else? Something maybe a little tighter? And he goes, I don't like feeling confined. I've had enough of that.
Yeah. Which, you could take it 2 ways, but we know it's because he's been a gem for about 900 years.
Yeah.
So they're checking out at the cash register. And he starts going on this thing about how her beauty is going to fail with age. It comes off really mean. And then he's just like, wouldn't you wish to be beautiful forever?
He puts on a great pitch. I mean, he's like, wouldn't you be bothered if you'll fade and your looking glass will just wither away day by day and you'll have a long and unhappy story. And that's enough for her to just be like, yeah, I wish to be beautiful forever.
Yeah, and then so it does a pan to him, and he says whatever he does say, and it pans back, and she's a mannequin.
A pretty looking
mannequin
forever.
The thing is, she's not pretty as the mannequin.
I mean,
it's really creepy looking.
Mannequins are scary.
That episode of Doctor Who.
That's the first episode.
Yeah, those mannequins are creepy when they're just walking around and taking Mickey. So then we go back to Alex, and what is the woman's name?
Which woman?
The woman she's talking to.
Wendy?
Yeah, is that the folklore?
Wendy,
yes. You know me. I forget names all the time.
That's fun.
I called Claire for half of our Final Destination episode, so...
If you don't look that up, I mean, no one's name is Clear.
Yeah, and I don't know, I just always heard it as Claire. Yeah. I really wish I got that name right, but that doesn't matter. At least you're helping me with names now.
She loses her train of thought. Again, when the djinn takes somebody, she's affected. So she's losing herself with the professor. And then a student fucking scares the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere because these kids are crazy. College, it's a wild place.
Definitely. It's a lawless land.
It's something. Then the professor kind of goes on. A little bit more about the djinn. They were created after the angels, but before man. They're powerful, they're magical, they're evil. And then they get into a little bit of a lore about them. She said that they're obliged to grant wishes, but their true motivation is for taking the world for themselves. That is their goal. That is their one desire here. Well, at least our djinn is his desire. Over time, our culture turned faith into fairy tales and tamed terror into fictions. This is kind of the saying with the whole morphing the evil genie to the Robin Williams genie in the lamp idea. Mario Party 1 item.
Mario Party 2 item. There's no items in Mario Party 1.
Mario Party 2 item. That's a good call out.
You know me, video game guy.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's get back to the djinn himself, because now he's visiting the detective who's working on Josh's case.
Yeah, and that case is closed.
Yeah, because it was clearly an accident. And I love how upfront Nathaniel Demarest, the djinn, is. And he's like, so can I get, Alex's address? And the cop's like, yeah, we don't just give out addresses.
I love it. He's so straightforward with it.
Yeah.
He doesn't beat around the bush. He just goes right for him. He's like, what would make me want to give you her address?
Yeah.
And then he's like, you keep looking in that guy over there in the office. He keeps looking at a suspect. The detective is like, that guy walked out on 7 counts, but I know he's as guilty as sin.
And then the detective basically says, I wish I could just nail that guy sitting over there for homicide. And the djinn grants this wish. And this scene is also insane. Because the guy, you can tell he doesn't want to do this. The guy does pretty good with his face. You can tell he's not in control of his body anymore. Because he takes the cop's gun. He shoots 2 of the cops instantly, 4 times each. All the cops jump on him. The detective that was talking to the djinn, he just can't believe what's happening.
Crazy commotion. Everybody goes over there. This gives the human djinn a chance and an opportunity to find the address. So he finds her business card among his stacks of papers. He takes it.
The cop notices he's doing this, but the djinn then makes the guy reach up and literally grab a cop's jaw off.
Yeah, he just puts his fingers into his mouth. This is something that I do to Shane often. I just stick my fingers in there and He just takes the mouth out.
Yeah, there's just no Grey Poupon involved in this one.
No, that's our fun time.
Yeah, if you want to call it that. The main detective then has to shoot the suspect, like, a bunch of times, and he doesn't go down.
No, I think other cops, like one or two other cops do too, and I think they shoot him maybe 40,000 times.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding, they shoot him a lot.
Well, because he doesn't go down.
I just think he's under possession.
He is, that's why he doesn't go down, because as soon as the djinn leaves with the card, the guy finally drops.
Yeah, and I think this whole scene is cool, I'll tell you why. I was like studying the djinn.
Oh, really? Please explain to me. I'm so curious.
I quit.
Oh, you're just now? You're just done?
You're doing this whole thing by yourself moving forward.
Wow, so you can be sassy to me the whole time, but the second I throw it back at you, the second I take an episode to give you a nickname, you're done.
Okay, I think it's fair to say, and we do this is now going to be our 20th episode, it's clearly evident that you kind of supersede me when it comes to the mockery and the jokes. You're hitting me, and I'm really only giving you 1 or 2 jabs per episode.
I don't think I agree with that statement. I mean, I throw the sleep thing at you a lot, but then you can fall asleep.
You're so hurtful.
He's just kidding.
So, the cool thing about the djinn is he looks at the suspect, right? And he is automatically compelled just by looking and glancing at him. And then he does this little finger tap on his suit, and that's the
trigger.
You're mine now. Manipulation. Sick stuff.
Crazy.
Scene shifts to Alex. She's doing a little djinn research of her own.
And we get some very important information here, because you find out the djinn charges up the stone by granting singular wishes, which is why he's getting all these wishes. He needs souls of the people that he grants wishes to power up this gem. And then he must get 3 wishes from the summoner, which is already established, but Alex is now just learning this.
So he needs 3 wishes from her.
Yes.
But these single wishes, like Shane mentioned, are charging up the stone.
Exactly. It's making him more powerful, essentially.
He needs those souls.
Yeah, he's all about the souls. It's kind of like Dark Souls. Actually, it's nothing like Dark Souls. The only singular thing is that you collect souls, I guess.
Souls is like...
Thresh and League of Legends?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're throwing a lot of video game references into this one. I like it. It's our other passion. We've always thought of doing a video game side project.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in us doing a Silent Hill video game movie review? A little combo, doggy.
I mean, I would be totally totes.
Because I definitely want to do that. It's like one of my favorite video game series. But back to the djinn. He shows up at Alex's work. And who is there as a security guard? None other than Kane Hodder.
Jason. Victor Crowley.
He's there. This is probably my least favorite death in the movie. Because it's the first really bad instance of CGI.
This is like one of those deaths where I actually couldn't understand what the hell was happening.
It's pretty cringy. It's very cringy. So the djinn is doing his whole I want to go in. The guard's like, you can't. He's egging the guard on to make a wish. And the guard's wish is, I wish you would walk away.
Yeah.
So he has to walk away.
He's like, no, I have to get inside.
He actually mentions it. He can't harm anyone unless there's a wish made.
He is literally only bound to those wishes.
Yes. So, once he wishes this, he has to just walk away.
Problem is, he has got the silverest, sneakiest tongue of all time.
He does. Because he gets this guard to wish that he could see him go through him, essentially. He's like, I need to go through you or something like that. And he's like, I wish to see you try that. It's bad. He, turns him into the door.
I want to just hear you explain it, because I can't.
So is this a please explain to me?
1,000, the best please explain to me.
Please explain to me
how Kane Hodder becomes a door.
So, what it looks like is Kane Hodder is just morphed into the glass. What doesn't make sense is then he walks through him, so he's liquid glass, but then he shatters in some of the worst CGI I've seen ever.
So it's right now he's got this thing set to solidify. Gets to the door, he's like, okay, liquefy. Walks through it. Solidify.
Break.
Cracks.
Yeah, it's bad. It's you have Kane Hodder make his death interesting.
The effect though is so weird looking. He looks so pixelated and weird.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
I just feel like the editor at this point was onto something. I think he went so hot boy. He was just oh, I can do this. Oh my god, this is so fucking sick, dude. Oh, I can do this.
He did the first 45 minutes. He's like, man, I'm on fucking fire right now. Let's make a liquid Kane Hodder.
Fucking go. He's like, I got the cane. Fucking do this.
Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. But seriously, it's so fucking awful. It's bad.
the glass just shatters, and I'm just happy that scene is over.
He goes in the office and he asks the boss, he's like, once again being super direct, what is her home address?
I love it. He's got a great show. He knows, he's got like 3 or 4 different options. He's like a salesman. When you make a call, if option A doesn't work, you go to option C or D. If those don't work, you can flip over to options, 98, 99, and 100, because there's an answer for every no. And he has it. So he starts off with the number 1 sales pitch. Where's Alex?
Very simple, very straightforward.
Not here.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I know where she is now, but I'm not going to tell you. So he grabs a valuable piece, and now he's got a bargaining chip, because he literally just swiped something from the guy's desk.
Well, he doesn't swipe it, though, with the intention to swipe it. He's like, when you wish this was, 100 times more valuable.
It's a persuasion piece.
Because then he rubs his hand over it, turns into pure gold, and dumps diamonds out of it. And he instantly picks them up to appraise them because, that's his thing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh my god. He can't believe what he's seeing. Which, obviously, the djinn's like, would you wish for more? And Nick is like, I'm not a greedy man. How's about $1 million? And now, how he gets the $1 million is his mom, right? It was his mom.
Dude, when that cuts to this guy's mom, making him the beneficiary of $1 million policy. She boards a plane
and it blows up.
Crashes.
And I'm like, whoa.
I'm like, that happened super fast.
So that guy is a millionaire now.
Yeah.
But he now owes his soul to a djinn.
That's the trade-off. You sell your soul for $1 million?
I would not.
Me neither. Scene cuts to her and her sister at basketball practice. A kid makes a shot. She's feeling good about herself. She goes up to Alex. She's like, it was a stillness.
Yeah, even though you have to move to make a shot.
This is one of those things I feel like is just going to go nowhere, but it kind of doesn't. It kind of does stick around.
It has a purpose. So while this basketball practice is going on, the djinn is actually sitting behind Shannon. And he's like, hey, can I borrow your phone? I need to make a call.
She kind of gives it to him.
Because she's a nice person.
And then she kind of gives him a look back because she's kind of into the djinn.
Well, Nathaniel Demarest is a hot dude.
For sure.
He's looking sharp in his slick-ass suit.
Dude, it's so slick. It's so hot.
The only thing that would have been slicker is if he was wearing a slicker from I Know What You Did Last Summer.
The fisherman slicker. So he literally does a redial. He wants to see who the last person that Alex dialed was. And it's Wendy the professor. That's all he needed to see. He's not going to call her. Just needs to know who it is. Then he does a little tapping on his suit. And she kind of spots him in the crowd as he's doing this. He kind of senses his presence, but he disappears. And I think really from this moment out, he just literally trolls her.
Yeah.
For the remainder of the movie.
So the detective calls Alex after this. And the djinn, though, puts the gem back together, and he takes the soul of everyone who made a wish. So, the detective, he drops dead, right?
Everybody. Everyone
you've
seen. The bum, the girl in the mannequin, the guy with the eyes that are sewn shut. All of these people.
Yeah. Alex feels all of this happening.
Writhing pain.
Alex gets another call, and this one's the djinn. And he's like, Alex, you can end their pain.
She has to pay the professor a visit. She tells Wendy the djinn has the souls are in the gem. She knows. And then the professor's like, you do realize that we're in the 20th century now?
She's like, all the sorcerers are gone. All the spells are lost to time.
She's like, if you do realize the djinn is actually real, it'd be the only magical thing in a rationalist world.
And now, what I like about this scene is the lady, Wendy, keeps asking Alex for things. And she's like, do you want this? Do you want a cup of water? Wouldn't you wish something like this? And I'm like, okay, so he's now this lady. I'm putting 1 and 2 together. But Alex isn't, but she does get very upset. And she's like, why do you keep asking me for this?
Yeah, she just calls her out on it.
Yeah. And I'm like, Alex hasn't figured it out, but I definitely have, because the djinn is definitely this woman in disguise right now.
Oh, yeah, and she actually starts to just fluff it up.
Yeah.
She compares her meek, 20th century brain to, this ancient being, that walks between worlds.
Yeah, the djinn is when he just starts berating Alex. You can't handle a djinn. Who do you think you are?
He's like, yo, I got that fire dick.
Does he say that? Because I wouldn't put it past him if he did. Because shit is about to hit the fan.
Alex is like, yeah, I think I should be going now.
But Wendy instantly turns back into Nathaniel. And that's when we learn that Wendy has been skinned alive in the other room. And yeah, that was creepy.
Absolutely skinned alive. They do a great job with the blood in this movie. It's honestly sick. And obviously, she's freaked out. He's like, I just needed her face.
Yeah, and she's like, you killed her. That's when he says, it's like, I can't hurt anyone unless they wish it. And she's like, I was like, that's bullshit. Like, she didn't wish to have her skin removed. And I think he says, well, she should have worded her wishes more carefully. And that's when it's like, you really can't trust a djinn.
No, you really can't. That's unfortunate, because, you think they could be kind of cool, but nah, they're kind of not. They have ulterior motives, like you. But like, at this point in time, you can see they're doing, like, a circular battle of wits.
Yeah.
Like, the camera just kind of shifts in a circle. And I love it, because he's like, where's that tasty little sister of yours? He starts, like, licking his lips.
Yeah, oh my god. And that's when he reveals his true form. And that's also when he says the shit just hit the fan. He's so great. And then he tells her, he's like, you have 3 wishes. And he's such a generous djinn, he gives her a sample.
He gives her a sample, because she mentions, like, if that's the case, I'm just going to wish you to kill yourself.
Yeah. So he's like, alright, I'll give you a sample. So she wishes, with the sample wish, not one of the 3, that he would blow his brains out. So he takes a gun and shoots through his chin, through the top of his head, blowing his brains out. Obviously, his head reforms. And he's like, I am immortal and cannot die. But if it's any consolation to you, that shit hurt like hell.
I love it.
And it's just like, the djinn is supposed to be this mythical being from back then. I love that he talks in such a contemporary 1990s way.
His English is phenomenal. For someone that's not even from Earth, he knows a hell of a lot of winning Earthlings over him.
Yeah, I guess we could go with that. Once he's alive, Alex makes her first true wish.
Well, she's kind of like feeling it. She's learning a little bit more. She starts going hoops on him a little bit, for the girls.
Yeah, for the girls. So she wishes to know what he is, which is another wish she should have worded better, because all she does is get brought into the gem and see all the souls being tortured. And in another very graphic scene, like,
yes.
The detective has his chest ripped open. Cashier lady is being whipped.
A lot of them are being hung and tormented in like this red tainted layer of the gem and screaming agony.
It kind of reminds me, and I forgot which movie came out first, but it reminds me of a scene in Event Horizon. Sam Neill shows the main character flashes of hell, and it's all of her ship crew being tortured in different ways, like almost like this scene. I don't know which one came first or which did it first.
Are they both
but
the same year?
Maybe they are. I know
close.
Event Horizon is a 90s movie as well, but
it's late 90s. Yeah.
Event Horizon's a better movie, in my opinion. I still like this one, but it reminded me of that. Very graphic and of that nature. And then, after seeing all these graphic things, she sees a demon dog.
Yeah, demon dog.
I'm not a dog guy, so I would have hated this dog even if it was a regular dog.
Yeah, I'm with you. You got demon dogs. You got like a bunch of monsters in here.
She gets chased by the dog first. The dog chases her through the gem, and she starts to hear Shannon's voice. After like catching up to Alex as she's running through here, he says, maybe I'll pay that tasty little sister of yours a visit.
It's interesting though, she does make her second wish.
Which is a very well worded wish. She wishes she were in her apartment without him.
Yeah.
And then she's back in her apartment without him. She's one wish away now from bringing all the djinns back.
I think that scene was really interesting too, because he does give her what she wants. Like, she wants to know what he is. He tells her, I am this, the cry of the abandoned child, the whimper of the whipped beast. I am the face that stares back at you from the shadow, the hollowness at the heart of all your hopes. I am despair. That's pretty dark.
Yeah, and like all the words he uses in that description is what's happening to the souls. The whips, the hollowness of the heart, like, it's very interesting. After the second wish is made now, going back, you find out that Shannon went to the Beaumont party.
Yeah, she left a note.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm out.
And the djinn leaves a message that he and Alex are connected. And so Alex leaves, and she starts driving away from the apartment to go to the Beaumont party.
You want to take a shot at the speed? Check that speedometer real quick.
No, what was the speed?
40,000 miles an hour? Maybe 60, maybe the Mach 5. I think they're hitting Mach 5.
Well, whatever they were hitting, the djinn grabs onto the window and shatters it.
Yeah, because he's super fast and he can just punch it out.
He's skitching like it's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4.
Yeah. She knocks him off, yeah.
She knocks him off. And then she parks, and then he's standing there as Nathaniel again.
Yeah. He's literally at the Beaumont place as Nathaniel. She sees him behind him. She tells Tony Todd, who's this mustached bouncer.
Whoa. Call him by his name. He's Johnny fucking Valentine.
That is true. He does stress that. He is Johnny Valentine, and he's going to be dead in 5 minutes. But
she comes up, she's like scared. Please, this guy's following me. I need to get into this party.
This also would never happen, because he's like, that guy's trying to kill me. He goes to the guy and just completely forgets about her, and she walks right in. Never would happen.
Tony Todd, Johnny Valentine, goes up to the guy, and he's like, you on the list? And he's like, I'm a friend of Mr. Beaumont. He's like, but are you on the list? He's like, you ain't on the list. You ain't getting in.
He also threatens him, too.
He does.
He's like, remember that time when they asked how you lost your eye? Kind of threatening him, like, fucking take out his eye?
Yeah.
Like, you're threatening. You have no idea you're threatening, bro.
They have this little back and forth. But then, he goes into full djinn mode, and he's like, don't you wish you could just be somewhere else? Don't you just wish you could escape?
He's like, yeah.
And so he puts him into the Great Escape, because he puts him in a straitjacket inside of a water tube.
Yeah, a tank of water outside for all on display for anybody who's there to see, even though there's nobody there.
He just walks away with his one-liner, as always, Houdini did it in 2 minutes. And clearly Tony Todd drowns there.
Yeah.
Even though there are plenty of people that probably could have broke that open for him.
Probably. Alex is in the party now. She's like swerving through the crowd. She's like looking for her sister. And she finds Shannon. She's by the bar. And she's like, yo, we gotta get out of here. And she's like, I don't want to leave. She's like, you gotta go check out Beaumont's new friend. He was the guy from the basketball court. And now Djinn is talking to Beaumont.
Yes. So, as the Djinn and Beaumont are talking, Djinn is mentioning, like, this, like, party that he was at, the last party he was at. And Beaumont says, man, I wish I could be at a party like that.
He's like, I'd love to throw a party that'll go down for centuries.
Yes. So, cue the opening of this movie into present time. Because instantly a woman turns into glass, shatters this guy's face, it cuts another guy's half of his face off.
There's like a poker that goes through a guy's mouth.
Yeah, it like
piano wires go flying, wrapping around a guy, ripping his head off.
Yeah, it decapitates him. Another guy, like the fireplace sets him on fire, and there's just like dead bodies everywhere.
Oh yeah. It's a bloodbath, people.
When they're just doing the practical effects with the blood and the, like, it's so well done.
Oh, it's
like, the guy
awesome.
on fire is incredible. It's not CGI. It's definitely a guy in a fire suit doing it. And then, like, the Djinn finds Alex while all this is going on, and she's like, you could wish it away, Alex. You could wish all this pain away. But she won't do it. She will not give in and give that third wish.
And Alex notices Shannon's being carried out with the crowd, and I believe the Djinn sees it as well.
He does. So Alex starts running. She's by these statues, and that's when the Djinn talks to her again, and he's like, she won't give in to the wish. She's like, you can't kill me. You need the wish. And he goes, you're right. I won't kill you, but I can make you wish you were dead. And that's when the statue just throws the trident at her.
Yeah, I think it was like Poseidon comes alive and just chucks a trident and misses her.
Yeah. So she starts running, runs directly into Beaumont, and then I don't know how to describe this next scene with Beaumont.
This is some sick shit. This is like some Slither from beyond fucking, like, he pukes out this blood, but it's like this
a creature.
Embryonic sac that's really a creature that starts forming, but like, it's still attached to his mouth.
Yeah, it's still in his mouth. So there's like tentacles shooting all over the place. One of them even grabs Alex's leg, and she has to like stab it off. But it's creepy too, because you see Robert Englund, Mr. Beaumont, like, kind of like trying to move with this thing coming out of his mouth. It's gross.
It's awesome though.
So Alex escapes that and starts running past some more statues. And she's looking at the statues like, these things are going to come alive.
Famous men throughout history. You can tell. I think there's like Mongols. There's probably some that are like Genghis or Kublai Khan.
Yeah, because there's like an archer, swordsman, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then 4 disposable security guards come up.
Yeah.
And I call them disposable security guards because they show up just to add more death.
I'm calling them plastic guards.
Yeah, because one gets shot with an arrow, one gets hit in the head with like a mace, one gets stabbed in the chest with a sword. It's just Alex and one other, and Jack the Ripper comes from behind from a painting and just starts cutting the guy's head off.
Yeah, the sole security guard that was protecting Alex at this point in time is now getting ripped to shreds by the fabled Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, it's wild.
Her 10-second security detail just got fucking slashed up.
Well, I mean, those were some of the best warriors of all time in statue form. Because the guards unload on these statues with guns. Like, they try. It's just, they're statues. They're not going to get killed by bullets.
I'd love to see all the... Maybe if I look at some trivia, I'd love to see, like, some of the...
Who the statues were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but we don't have to give all that information. It's not necessary.
Do your own research.
Exactly. We don't have to hold your hand through everything. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. Brian does all of it. And Jen.
I would just assume like some of them were famous people throughout time, and I would like to look more.
Yeah, but the Djinn corners Alex now in the room where the statue should have been, because I think it even says on the name plaque
the
Azur Maserati. What was it?
Azur Mazda?
Yeah, see, I knew it was some kind of car. As the Djinn has her cornered, he says something. I just know at some point he says, fuck it. And it made me crack up when he says it.
Awesome. So, yeah, so he's like hyping it up. He's like, I'm going to show you the final masterpiece of the Beaumont collection. It's interesting because the camera pans and you see Shannon,
in the picture,
Alex's sister, in the painting. And she's just like, sister, why have you forsaken me? She looks, her sister's literally in a painting. And he's like, if you can't beat them, burn them, baby. And the painting just starts catching on fire. And it's like, she's like screaming, like those visions of like her mother or like I said, future Shannon.
And so this is where the basketball subplot has been building to. Because Alex is looking around. She sees the djinn. She sees her sister burning. And she just thinks stillness.
Yeah. She needs to think of something quickly. She needs to think of a wish.
Just think of stillness. Think of something. And she makes a very good decision. Like, I wasn't expecting the movie to end like this. Where her wish is, it's such a simple wish.
It is. It makes a lot of sense, too. I just didn't think about it.
She wishes Mickey Torelli, the guy who was operating the crane, hadn't been drinking on the job 2 days ago. And something as simple as that changes all the course of history, because we go back in time and you see when the assistant of Mr. Beaumont now goes to tell the crane operator to be careful, he's like, okay, I'll be careful. And he just slowly lowers it down. It doesn't fall, doesn't kill the assistant, it doesn't break, so the opal is never found.
Exactly. Beaumont gets his Azura.
Yeah. His Maserati.
Yep. Alex is depicted now in the next scene with Josh in his office, because now that everything was already kind of brought full circle back to form 2 days prior, Josh is still alive. And she's like, how about dinner and a movie? So you know right away, like, she has recollected the past 2 days, where they probably obviously haven't.
Exactly. And that's what I said at the beginning. I like that referencing the end, because at the beginning, Josh asks her, how about dinner and a movie? She says, how about hot dogs and a ball game? So now when she asks, how about dinner and a movie? Josh, as a joke, says, how about hot dogs and a ball game? But obviously accepts dinner because he wants that more than anything in his life.
Yeah, so she kisses him, and the last scene of the movie, you see the final masterpiece in the Beaumont collection, the Azura, is depicted on that missing platform. Now it has the statue piece. And the camera kind of pans into it, where you see the red gem, and then into the red gem, where you just see the djinn on his throne. And he's laughing. Because I have a feeling this guy's coming back.
At least 3 more times. Possibly 4. I'm not sure if the djinn is a sequel or not. But definitely 3 more times. And that's the end of the Wishmaster 1.
This is a cool movie, Shane.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed it. My expectations were low, so I was definitely pleasantly surprised.
Well, I feel like your expectations were low because the last movie we reviewed was Rise of the Scarecrows.
That's a good point. I mean, you can't get much lower. Actually, if you think about it, my expectations probably should have been higher.
That's a good point.
Because it's so...
I was taking it that Rise of the Scarecrows is so bad you don't believe movies can be good ever again.
I lost the appeal for a film. It just crushed me so bad. I think for such a shitty movie, it was such a fun movie to do, man.
It really was. But, yeah, this movie, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. While watching this movie, I'll be honest with you, I was thinking like 6 the whole time. I'm like, because the kills are so good. The story's okay. I mean, like, it's nothing special. It's not anything that's groundbreaking. It's, your basic plot. He is trying to, bring all his brethren to Earth to rule. Simple plot. But the idea is cool because he has to trap souls.
Yeah.
And he has to get the person who summoned him the 3 wishes out. And I think the playful dialogue and how he tries to coerce, like, the wish out of people really fuels this movie. So when I was thinking 6, after further reflection, I'm gonna go 7 out of 10 on the spooky chart.
So what are we doing? I know we've done all these different spooky names. What's our 1 to 10 scale today?
Wow. How about something very simple? Spooky Steven Spielberg.
Okay. I like it.
I'm gonna give this 7 spooky Spielbergs.
I like it. So, same thing as you. I like this movie. And I've been internally debating the whole review, 6 or 7. Because it's not a movie that you're watching for groundbreaking dialogue. You're not watching it to see an Oscar-winning performance. You're watching a movie called The Wishmaster from 1997. You're watching it to see good kills, cheesy one-liners, and a good villain. And like you, it delivers on all those fronts.
It really does.
Yeah,
in the most unexpected ways, it really just cashes in, and the movie just gets infinitely better once he becomes a human.
Exactly. And that's why I'm with you. I'm going to give this movie a 7 because it is what I wanted it to be. It's funny. It's entertaining. The gore it's scary. If you're a blood person that's like afraid of blood, that's like your thing that makes you squeamish in a movie, you'll be squeamish in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a scene we didn't technically mention in the party where there's a guy hanging upside down and there's just like a tentacle shooting out of his neck.
Yeah, it's like a freaking like sliced throat. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm with you, Bri. I'm going to give this 7 spooky Spielbergs out of 10.
Yeah. It was very fun. It was a cool watch. For everything that we said, I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely want to watch the remainder of the series, even if they do suck.
Yeah, like I said, I think you'll enjoy 2. There's absolutely no chance you enjoy 3 or 4. But yeah, that's our review for Wishmaster. We both enjoyed it, and I think most of you probably would too.
Yeah, I think this is definitely an underappreciated 90s gem.
Agreed. Just a couple of things we want to throw out. If you haven't already, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 2guys1necro. Facebook at 2guys1necronomicon. Post updates. We post some memes on Instagram now.
We DM. We do it all.
Yeah.
We'll slide right in.
I mean, probably not that. That just sounds really creepy.
Not like sliding like you guys think about it. Sliding like talk to people.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That.
One thing me and Shane love to do is talk horror films.
Yes.
We can talk them all day long.
Or video games. That's also another thing. So, horror video games, any kind of video game, really.
And cats.
I'm a big cat guy. I know I said I don't like dogs. Absolutely love cats. I have a cat myself. It's adorable.
I have 2. And, one's a bitch.
Yeah, but the other one downstairs is so sweet.
Yeah, just like the one that I have upstairs, she's
feisty.
She's a hell kitten. And then I go to bed, and she like slumbers up next to me and cuddles next to me. Next morning, it's just like she's PMS, and she's like fucking getting at me again.
It's so great. That cat hates me, though.
Hates everybody.
But yeah, that's us on our social medias. This episode and the episode before, we took a more lighthearted, like, cheesier route with our movies. We're going pretty heavy next episode.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna really change the script. You're gonna get light, and then you're gonna get an absolute fucking heavy burrito-laden film. Yeah,
so without holding it off, we're reviewing the 2009 Lars von Trier Antichrist.
Me and Shane have seen this already. We're going to watch this movie again. This movie is heavy.
Yeah, just some full disclaimers. There is full penetration. There is a decent amount of male and female nudity. It's a very heavy subject matter.
Yeah, it's another artistic movie. It's definitely bloody, and from what I remember, this movie's got a lot of, I want to say, personal reflection. Like, Lars von Trier definitely added a lot of his personal sentiments and worldviews into this film, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But it's very dark.
Yeah, it's by far the heaviest movie we've talked about. Dogtooth doesn't even come close to Antichrist.
It doesn't.
And Dogtooth is probably the heaviest, or Lighthouse is probably the 2 heaviest we talked about.
Yeah, I would say that Antichrist is probably the...
It doesn't come close to the others.
It's going to be a little heavier.
Tune in next week, where we'll see you. I don't even know. We'll see you. And if you haven't already, please follow us on Facebook at 2guys1necronomicon. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 2guys1necro. Also, if you can, and if you listen to it on Apple Podcasts, please throw us a rating on there. 1 star, 5 star, whatever it is, just let us know your feedback. Thank you very much.